is a junkie.
And you're a drunk!
Okay, thank you.
Run on home, fill your bathtub with whiskey, and just soak in it. Have yourself an old drunk man's bubble bath.
Got it.
Good.
How many drunk man's bubble baths did you take to prepare for this role?
Exactly. I don't know where that line came from, but that was fabulous. It was just Octavia, you know, and she really was on me at that moment.
And then you had a line in the film that I really like. You said that this isn't about this isn't about white or black. This is about Eloise.
Right. It's about right or wrong, and sometimes our differences, race shouldn't come up when you and I are necessarily having a difference. It's got no place in the fact that you and I are having a difference over some kind of issue. And the movie's strong that way. When I read it, because I'm not smart enough to know how to have this conversation all the time, but when I read it, I thought this is a good jumping off point. And I felt like I wanted to share this with people because of that.
And your character goes through a progression because Anthony has a question for you in the film where he says, "Do you dislike black people?" And you say, "Well, not all of them."
That's right.
And so your character changes.
This movie doesn't pull very many punches, but at the end, trust me, it's a movie about family, and it's warm, and there's a lot of humor in this movie, but it's an honest film, and that's what made it important to me. So I wasn't afraid to say the lines that are in there, because the thing I know about people, they're not afraid of the truth. They're not afraid of one man's situation, and if as long as they see that it's an honest one.
And now talk to me about your big speech about racism in the film.
Well, it's not a speech so much as he's backed into a corner, and someone's challenging him, and so a person at that point tries to defend himself, and actually all his defenses go down, which makes what I say even probably more authentic and more to the point. And it's about time we get to the point. And so I knew it was a speech to remember when I read it. I just thought, well, I'm the only person that can screw it up. So now I need to get it right.
So where do they sell your Falcon suits?
You know what? I was looking for one. I can't find one. But the new Falcon suit is going to be much better than the old Falcon suit.
Because it got destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. Got to rebuild.
Okay, so in this film, did you ever have any aspirations to play a lawyer or be a lawyer?
Not really. I hate lawyers.
You play kind of the film's closest thing, like a villain.
It depends on which side you look at it. I think the great thing about this movie is there is no right and there is no wrong. I feel like when you have when you have something you're passionate about, you're willing to fight for it to the nth degree. And I feel like my character was just willing to fight harder and more specific than everybody else.
And it seems like your character is also kind of showing that the true villain of the movie is prejudice.
Exactly. It's it's really important that you realize that our kids aren't born tainted. We taint them. And my character was very specifically trying to explain to everyone that the child is the most important thing, and you have to sacrifice life and liberty to save this child. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's just a specific argument.
And now, what about the timing of this film coming out with what's going on today?
It's funny. It's funny how things work out. We're in a point now where we've really digressed as a country as far as race relations, and I think that's for many different reasons. And I think the only way to counteract that is to talk about it. I think if you look at the TV shows and the movies that our parents had, like Archie Bunker, like the Jeffersons, like Sanford and Son, they were all about race relations and talking about how much they didn't like other people. So you could sit around the table and talk about those issues, laugh at them, and move on. But we've gotten to the point where PC has become the pseudonym for ignorance, and that's no longer, I feel, acceptable in an internet day and age.
Do you like the fact that this film is more of it's a dramedy, so it uses comedy to lighten part of it, but also uses drama to hit home the tough issues it's talking about?
Right, and that's 100% Mike. I mean, he had a clear vision of what he wanted to do with this movie, and the way, you don't want to hit people over the head. You want to feed them to the point they're full with your information. And he's a great writer in ability. He knows how to feed people information and let you make your own decision at the end of the movie. And I think that's how if you use comedy and dramedy well, that's supposed to happen.
So you tend to direct and write.
Yeah.
In your same movies. Is that what is the reason? You don't trust other writers?
No, I don't trust other directors with my scripts. I don't know. I like that whole process of having it come out of my mind, get on the paper, and then turn it into a movie. You know, and it's hard to do because I don't really write big action movies or anything, and they're hard to get made in this environment we're in. But I just like to do my own script, and I got lucky that Kevin believed in it. Kevin actually ended up financing the movie, so you know, I mean, it was. You need someone to really believe in what you're doing, you know, and I got lucky on this one.
Now, and talk to me about the way you blended drama and comedy, where you were talking about something very serious, but you blended those two.
Yeah, well, that's what I try to do. I think the guys that I always loved, you know, Woody Allen and James Brooks, and even like new guys like Malcolm Lee. You know, I just love, like, I like a movie that can be funny and then serious and then funny. I don't think anything suffers from a little sense of humor, and I think a drama can be too dry without some laughs.
What about your little girl here, who, you know, looks a little bit like our little girl in Annie?
Yeah, she's pretty incredible, right?
Was she? What was the process of finding her?
We saw maybe 1,000 girls, and she won the role. She truly went out and won the role.
Why? Did you just know it when you saw her?
No, I had a good sense of it, but you know, you're betting the farm on if that little girl doesn't work, the movie doesn't work. So she had to come in, and I had to see how the chemistry was with Kevin, and I had to see how she related and whether or not her mother would leave us alone and not get in her, you know. There's a lot of things, you know, and her mother ended up being a great stage mother. It didn't really help the whole process, and there's a lot of questions when you're hiring a little girl for the centerpiece role. So we got very lucky.
And what was your goal here, to make a statement, or were you trying to leave people to ask their own questions?
Just to be entertaining and to maybe be a conversation starter. You know, I think you know, we didn't plan all. We did this movie before all these horrible things that have happened in the last year in this country, and we didn't plan it. But we always thought, you know what, this country could use a good movie that's a conversation starter about race.
So the timing of all this happened before Ferguson and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, we made it long before that.
So it's just kind of ironic that the timing is actually relevant.
Well, I wish I could say I was happy about it, but
well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks a lot, Adam.
Sorry about our weather.
It's cold.